In this video, we are going to discuss the Let Them theory by Mel Robbins, how it will change your life, and I'll share how it changed mine. So with that, let's jump right in. So let's start with a little summary about this book. As the title implies, the whole theory is called Let Them. Now what let them means is recognition that we cannot control the actions of others. No matter what we do, how much we beg, yell, scream, plead, slap around, whatever, people are going to do what they're going to do, and we cannot control that. There's absolutely no control to that. But there's a second part that is introduced in the book, and it's let me. Now this, in some ways, it might not be as catchy, but it would be great, because this is where I learned and I see this whole theory coming together, and it's let me. And what that means is that we recognize, okay, we can't control what this person's doing, how much we agree or disagree, but how can I react to it? How can I influence them? How can I just let it go? How can I take a deep breath? What things can I control in this situation? And that's what this whole theory comes down to. As you think about that, you also say, okay, what factors are they factoring into their decision? What blind spots do I have? And you learn to give people grace. And that's basically it, like the 30,000 foot view, what this book is all about. There's a lot more to it, so I'd encourage you to give it a read, but let's talk a little bit now about how this book will change your life just as it changed mine. So now that we know what the book is a little bit about, let's talk about what it's going to do for your life. I'm going to start by sharing my experience with reading this book. And I have to tell you, this is probably the book that's impacted my life the most in quite some time. I personally choose the Audible route, but I listen to or read a lot of books. And this one, man, did it change a lot of my view. So I'm gonna use just like a really brief thing, start with like one of the dumbest little things. And I commute a lot. And when you put a lot of miles on your car, you're on the freeway and that, other drivers kind of start to annoy you. And I would find myself a lot of times just getting annoyed, angry. Maybe I'd hit the horn a little bit sooner than I should with people. And as I applied this, I realized, when I would hit the horn on somebody to get them to move, they wouldn't. And guess what? I would encounter that person the next day, and guess what they were doing? The exact same thing, never mind the fact that I honked at them, the person behind them honked at them, 3 or 4 people cut them off, like right on their bumper. That person's driving the way they're gonna drive. It doesn't matter, it's not going to change. So, I accepted that, and I can tell you, my commutes have gotten so less stressful because the let them for me, I'm like, they're gonna drive how they're gonna drive. I can't control it, so I take a deep breath and I look for my opportunity to go around them. And stupid as it is, my commutes have gotten to be far less stressful. Now let's talk about some deeper things. And where we really care about this and where it's most important is in our relationships. Now, for me, it's been good at helping to recognize how some of my friendships have stood the test of time, how some of them haven't, and kind of how we got the short end of the stick when it came to learning how to maintain relationships in adulthood. So, it goes into theories of friendships. In fact, I'm going to do a whole nother video on just that alone, because there's just so much in this thing, probably, in this back section about friendships and adulthood. But going into dealing with people that, we have struggles with, that they kind of make us angry, we even jump to anger a little bit sooner than we should, is talking about how most of us weren't really ever taught how to process our emotions, understanding what they are, and how to react. So, giving an example, Mel talks about how an emotion really is just a chemical blip in the system, and most of us weren't ever taught just to breathe for a minute, and the emotion usually goes by that. But understanding that you and I didn't learn how to process emotions properly, recognize what they are, it's going to give you more grace in dealing with people, especially when they react shortly to you. And I noticed that with a lot of people I know, you'd be like, why are they reacting this way? And you're able to stop and say, you know what? I wasn't taught how to deal with emotions properly. Neither were they. So I can't really blame them. It's okay. Just breathe, let it go, and move on. And, focus on, okay, I'm learning to control my emotions, just breathe. So here we go. My life is less stressful. And I've been applying those principles, and my interactions with people, my patience has grown a lot. Now also, with this, you also start to learn that when friendships go by the wayside or you don't get invited, it's usually not something as personal as we take into consideration. And I think all of us, right, we've had friends that all of a sudden we see them do things, we're not invited, and you just freaking spiral. You're scrolling through their social media, you're just like, what the hell? And you learn that, you know what, it might have been you that pulled away because you may have not had the energy, those friends moved away. In my situation, a lot of my friends have kids, they have teenagers. I don't have children. And so the timing in my life is far different than most of my friends. We have different levels of energy. They have friends that they've met in their neighborhood. I live across town, or some of them live across the country. And so it makes sense. It's not so personal. It's just differing factors that contribute to our friendships falling away. Or, on the flip side, it's how you're going to develop new friendships, because you're going to meet people that live closer to you. They're similar phases of life. Energy levels are going to be a little better matched. And so you might form new relationships that way as well. And taking that as a tool and recognizing ingredients for a friendship was the final thing that I took from this book that I know you would too. Now, we're getting to the end of this. I know this was like very high level, but I would encourage you to go pick up a copy of the Let Them Theory, find it on your streaming platforms. Honestly, nobody encouraged me to make this video. It just changed my life that much. I know it's going to do the same for you. Now, if you found this valuable at all, I recommend that you click in the video in the upper, I guess that will be your right or your left. But that was a video hand selected by the algorithm specifically for you based on your views and likes and whatnot. And with that, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.